This video shows how to make the dodecahedron in the nested set of Platonic solids. The dodecahedron has 12 faces. Each face is a regular pentagon. 3 pentagons meet at a vertex. The dodecahedron wraps around the cube with each edge of the cube a diagonal of each pentagonal face of the dodecahedron. Here is a stick figure view of the dodecahedron with the cube inside. You can see each of the cube's 12 edges are diagonals of one each of the faces of the dodecahedron. The drawing shows a face of the dodecahedron with an edge of the cube. Since each face of the dodecahedron is a regular pentagon, each angle of the pentagon is 108 degrees and each side is congruent. Thus, triangle ABC is isosceles. Drop a perpendicular from point C to segment AB to get right triangle CDB. In an isosceles triangle, the perpendicular from the vertex is also the angle bisector, so the measure of angle C is 54 degrees. It is also a median, so segment DB is half of AB. Segment AB is 4.1 centimeters, which is the edge of the cube. Add 2 millimeters due to working with cardboard to give 4.3 centimeters. Cut this in half to get the length of DB 2.15. X is the side of the pentagon, which is the edge length of the dodecahedron, the one we want to calculate. Use trig now to set up the equation. The sine of 54 degrees is equal to 2.15 divided by x. Therefore, x is approximately 2.7 centimeters. The easiest way to make the net of the dodecahedron is to start with one pentagon and trace it. Use a leftover piece of poster board and then draw a segment. You can draw it near the edge of the paper. Measure off 2.7 and then carefully measure off 108 degrees . Measure up 2.7 centimeters on each of these sides. And then measure another 108 degree angle from each of these points. You want to be as accurate as you can be on this, because you'll be tracing this for the rest of the figure, and any mistakes you make will be amplified over and over again. In a classroom project, if you're working with other students, you can decide if somebody's pentagon template is better than everybody else's. You can use that and trace one for everybody. Cut this out, but be sure to put your name on it, because you'll be using this at the very end. It'll be the tab that'll hold the dodecahedron closed. Think about the dodecahedron as one pentagon surrounded by 5 other pentagons. Together that's 6, so that's the top half of it, and then we have another set of 6 for the bottom half of it. So as we trace the net, we want to put one pentagon at the center and then trace 5 pentagons surrounding it. Here's the net without any tabs yet, but with both sides of 6 pentagons attached together. Here's the net with the triangles attached. The triangles can be used for tabs to join adjacent pentagons. So when you cut it out, you'll cut one side of the triangle out, fold the other side. Put flaps around one set of 6 pentagons. That's to glue the 2 different sides together. Here's the finished net with all the tabs and the door drawn in on one side. Here's the net again, this time with all the cuts made, all the ones you want to make to this point. Don't cut the door yet. Wait until we glue the 2 halves into 2 bowls. Next step is to score and fold all the lines except the door. Go ahead and fold, score and fold the dashed line. After you've scored and folded all the segments, glue this side up, this bowl, glue it and pin it, and then glue the other side up and pin it. Here one side has already been glued, the other side is glued with clothespins holding it. After both bowls have been glued together, it's time to cut the door. So cut around the 3 sides and fold the dash side. After cutting along the door, you'll end up with 2 pieces. First, glue these 2 sections together. After gluing, if the tab sticks up when the door is open, go ahead and just trim that off. Now it's time to glue the 2 pieces together. Line them up so when you've attached them, the door will fit perfectly into the square left in the smaller piece. When you glue it, start directly opposite the door. I glue the centermost 4 tabs first, then I can glue the last 2 tabs on either side. The last step is to take your pentagon that you used to trace and glue it onto the door so you have a little tab that'll help keep it closed. I recommend not trying to close it until you put your cube on the inside. You might have trouble getting the door open. Here's the finished dodecahedron with the cube on the inside. Looks like I erred a little bit. I made the edge length of the dodecahedron a little bit too large, but it's better to err larger than smaller. If I made them too small, we wouldn't have been able to fit the cube inside.